I'm Richard,
And I'm Will.
and together we're
The
Irreverent
Nerds. Bum, bum, bum.
Nerds.
Hey, nerds.
We're here. We're back. I'm speaking in the Scottish accent again for some reason.
And it's Free Comic Book Day.
Willie! Oh, it's free. Oh.
Ricky.
need to make it over to the comic book store then.
Yeah, do you plan on making a trip today to the comic book store?
Possibly. Yeah, I've been needing to do that. For a while anyway. So, but yeah, happy. So the day we're recording this, and obviously this probably won't be the day that you all are hearing this, but the day we're recording is May 6th, so that's Comic Book Day. And this is for
My mistake.
This is a subscriber-only episode, at least at this point. We are doing our review of Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3.
Volume Trace.
Yeah, so Will and his wife Mandy and myself and my wife Laura, the four of us went to see it together last night. And I'm assuming we all enjoyed it. I know Laura and I did. Did you and Mandy enjoy the film?
We did. Mandy and I didn't talk about what we thought about it extensively last night, but she enjoyed it. She complained there was too much music, but I think that's kind of their thing, though.
Yeah, that is kind of the Guardians thing, like the cool 70s, 80s soundtrack music. And it's usually relevant to the scene, too, for the most part. I mean, not necessarily, or at least it flows well with the scene, even if the lyrics aren't directly relevant, the music flows well with the visuals, at the very least. James Gunn, I don't know if he's the one that selects those or not, but whoever does is doing a good job. I know Dave Jordan is the music producer or music director, which I think he does. I've seen his name pop up a lot in a lot of movies. So he must be pretty big in that world in Hollywood. Or maybe it's just that I watch a bunch of Marvel movies and he does all the Marvel. I don't know. I mean, I have literally seen it. I think every Marvel movie, just about every Marvel movie ever made. Is Phantom? Is that Marvel? The Phantom?
No.
Okay, that's DC.
No.
Neither one.
That's neither one. That's independent. I can't remember
the one with
what comic book publishes the Phantom.
I've never seen the one with Billy Zane, like where he dresses up in the purple suit. Yeah, I've not seen that one yet, but it's not a Marvel property apparently. Oh yeah,
no.
And I haven't seen either of the Punisher films.
That's definitely Marvel.
So yeah, I know that's Marvel.
Well, that's not a part of the MCU, so you're good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not. At least not yet.
I haven't seen the Punisher TV series, on the Netflix series, though. I haven't.
I haven't either. I've seen some of the Daredevil series, and we watched the crossover. I think you and I watched it together, didn't we? Like the crossover.
I don't remember.
Where like from Jessica Jones. Maybe it was me and Zach. I think I did with one of my friends. Like we watched a crossover, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, Daredevil, and I forget what the fourth one was. But all the Netflix ones and
Power Man, Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, that's it. Luke Cage, that's the other one. But yeah, and I've seen some of the Jessica Jones series, and I don't know if they're bringing her back or not. I haven't heard any announcements on that, but I know they're bringing obviously Daredevil's coming back, a little bit differently. Like it's not supposed to be like the exact same universe, I don't think, as the Netflix.
Yeah, I've
series,
been confused.
But it's the same actor. So yeah, I don't know. And he's like apparently dating She-Hulk now. So
is he?
Have you not watched She-Hulk yet?
Well, I did watch She-Hulk. I just didn't know that they were going to continue that.
Oh well, that I don't know.
Plot point.
I just know at the end of She-Hulk they were dating. So.
They were.
Yeah, she brought him home to see the family and everything.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Yeah, so
good point. I thought it was just a one night stand at first.
It was at first, but then she brings him to meet the family, so you assume they're dating regularly at that point. Well, I could be wrong.
Yes. I mean, I kind of hope it's the same universe, but that's only because I'm just emotionally invested in the first 3 seasons of Daredevil. But whatever.
Yeah, which they took it off Netflix, right? Is that going to pop up? I wonder on Disney Plus eventually.
Oh, it's already on Disney Plus.
Is it?
Yeah, all the Netflix shows are on Disney Plus now.
All right.
Well, I'm not sure if I
catch the rest of
it.
it.
Yeah.
So I saw, I think, maybe the first 6 episodes, I think. And that's about as far as I got.
Well, it's a really good series.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. It's my favorite of all the Netflix Marvel shows.
Yeah, I think that's true for most people. Although I did like Jessica Jones.
Yeah, me
I think
too.
that's right up there with it. I thought that was well done.
It is, honestly. Those are the two best shows. I never watched the second seasons of Luke Cage or Iron Fist.
Yeah, the Iron Fist character, like I saw him in the crossover, and he definitely was the least interesting of the four. They just didn't interest me. He felt like preppy boy turned superhero. I don't know. That's just the vibe I got. Maybe that has more to do with the actor than I don't know.
Well, I guess that's his character, except he shouldn't be preppy boy because he was lost in the Himalayas or something and trained as a Buddhist monk type character, so he shouldn't come off as preppy. But
unless he was raised with money.
He was until age 8 or something or whatever. Whenever it was, his airplane crashed in the mountains and his parents died in the flames of the crash. That turned dark.
All right, so subscribers, you got that for free. are open. I mean, we're still talking Marvel, so it's still in the universe, as they say. But we are here to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
That's right.
We give you our reactions. So
I just go where the spirit leads.
for those of you that are just jumping in, you don't really care whether you see it or not, but you want to listen to a podcast about it for whatever reason. Here's a little blurb from Wikipedia about it. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, stylized as Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which that makes no sense. I don't know why they put that in parentheses, is a 2023 American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics superhero team Guardians of the Galaxy, produced by Marvel Studios, and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. It is the third and final installment in the Guardians of the Galaxy film trilogy.
Parentheses known as the third and final installment of the
the Guardians of the Galaxy film trilogy. And the sequel to, of course, Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one in 2014, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, which came out in 2017, and the 32nd. This is the 32nd film in the Marvel. Damn, 32 films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I stopped collecting these films.
DC, you're so far behind. You just need to do your own thing at this point, which hopefully James Gunn will be able to, him working together with Mr. Safran, they'll be able to accomplish that. It's Safran, right? Peter Safran?
That sounds right.
Yeah, I think so. I know he's the one that produced the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, which I finally got around to watching some Peacemaker, and it's definitely continues the rated R level of violence and sexuality that you saw in the Suicide Squad. Actually, it goes darker than that.
Darker.
Yeah. So it's definitely not for kids. We'll put it that way. I didn't finish it, but it was generally enjoyable. But I think I enjoyed the Suicide Squad, but I think I am a bigger fan of the Guardians franchise, when comparing James Gunn properties. But
yeah, me too.
But he did a good job. Obviously, much better. I don't even know who directed the one in 2016. I don't even know I'm assuming it's the guy's name. I don't even remember. I remember the actors that were in it, but I couldn't tell you who directed it.
What, you mean Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2?
No, sorry. The original Suicide Squad from 2016.
No, I don't remember
I
either.
couldn't tell you who directed it. I don't remember. But yeah, James Gunn's version, obviously he built on some things that were established in that, and had some of this. But for the most part, it was his own thing, and it was better.
Yes.
It was definitely better.
Yes, it was definitely. His is better. I would rewatch it.
Yeah, I think I will eventually probably revisit it. So let's see some of the actors in this. I mean, no surprise. Return of the ensemble cast: Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Palm Clementif, which I'm not sure who that person plays, but maybe is that the big baddie? No, I think that's Chukwudi Wuji, maybe. Not sure. Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, Sean Gunn, Chukudi Wuji, Bill Poulter, Elizabeth Debicki, Maria Bakalova, and Sylvester Stallone.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, and Kevin Bacon makes in picture form makes a little cameo and a couple of references in newspapers and such. But no, the main plot, if you've watched the trailer, this is not a surprise. But the main plot of the film centers around Rocket the raccoon. So we get to find out finally more about his backstory in very painful detail. It's hard to watch at points, I think. But we get to find out his backstory, and then the big baddie of the film is the person who experimented on, no surprise, I think this was already known even before, like I knew it before going in. So the high evolutionary
dun, dun, dun.
Is someone who's been doing all kinds of genetic engineering, genetic manipulation, genetic tinkering, use your word, with different species, very callously, very cold-hearted son of a bitch, honestly. Like, I mean that, like, really cold-hearted dude. Like, he's trying to quote-unquote perfect other organisms and change them, and when they don't meet his specifications, he just wipes them out, quite literally, incinerates them, blows them up, kills them, shoots them when he's done with them, when they don't meet his standards of perfection. And this is who, and it's probably, we find out how traumatic that was for Rocket, and why he doesn't want to talk about it much, and why he's also, even though he's got, the kind of the quintessential heart of gold underneath, he has a very bristly, very strong personality, doesn't trust people easily, and we find out why in this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what were some of your early thoughts about the film? And we're trying as much as possible this beginning here to be spoiler free, first 10-15 minutes or so. So with as little spoilers as you can, what were your early impressions of the film?
It was better than the Guardians' brief cameo in Thor: Love and Thunder.
This is true.
But I mean, earlier in the movie, my definitely positive. I mean, I just watched not too long ago. I didn't rewatch the first two Guardian films or any of their other appearances, but I did recently see the Christmas special a few months ago.
Yeah, which obviously we get to see the setting that took place in, i.e. nowhere, and what's now more or less the town / retreat for misfits, or like refuge for misfits, I guess, maybe.
Yeah. I actually didn't know in the Christmas special where that location was. I don't think, but this film definitely shows you they rebuilt nowhere after it was decimated by Thanos.
Yeah. Yeah, and sorry, I lost my train. So it's basically a floating the skull of a ancient god.
Yeah, celestial.
Ancient celestial that died, and then they've built a city inside of it, and that's where the Guardians' headquarters is, and they're essentially running the, I don't know if town, I guess, the town of nowhere, town / floating, yeah,
I guess so,
refuge. Yeah, which is pretty cool. And if you haven't seen the Christmas special, by the way, check it out. It's very enjoyable, actually, and Kevin Bacon does play a pretty prominent role. And it's pretty.
That's
pretty
true.
Fun. It's fun. It's fun, and he sings at the end, and he's actually a good singer. I think he has a band that he's in, if I'm not mistaken.
Cool.
In real life, not just imaginary life, but real life.
So not Second Life. He's not playing Second Life.
What about Second Life? Elevensies, tea, dinner, supper.
That was probably a very outdated joke I just made.
Second Life?
It's a video game.
Oh. See, I had no idea.
But it doesn't matter. Anyway.
From the 90s?
No.
The aughts?
Maybe 10 or so years ago.
Okay. Second Life.
I don't know.
Half-Life? You're not talking about Half-Life, are you?
No, that's a different video game.
Okay, never mind. All right, awkward silence. Yeah, we're trying to think through. Obviously, this is not scripted. Like we knew what we were going to talk about.
What are those?
Yeah, what are those? Yeah, the only parts of our show over the course of the podcast that have been scripted are when we did like our sci-fi focus and our Japan genre. Although those weren't like scripted in the sense that we literally wrote out everything we were going to say necessarily. Just they were more scripted than our typical fare.
This is filler right now. Just while we're talking, we're thinking about what we're going to say next.
That's right. Isn't that amazing how the brain can do that? Like you're like processing and trying to decide what to say next while your brain fills the space somehow with small talk, like I'm doing right now.
So this just popped in my head. I really like Cosmo, the dog.
Yeah. She, which I didn't know she was a she.
Apparently, it's a he in the comics.
Yeah, which I have no problem with it being a she.
Yeah,
just like I didn't realize.
I don't know exactly at what point James Gunn decided that Cosmo is a she in the MCU, so I don't know if previous appearances the dog was actually a boy. I don't know, but I have no problem with it. I like the character.
I don't think she talked prior to this one, unless there was like maybe some. I don't remember any conversation with the Christmas special that I can think of. So this might have been the first time that she was talking. I could be wrong about that.
I think she spoke prior to this because I kind of remember her speaking. No. I remember what it was. It was in the What If shows. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, and we do get another little cameo from Howard the Duck.
Yes.
In this, he's playing poker, right? Wasn't it poker? There was a group of them playing poker.
Yes, I pointed like that meme.
Or some kind of card game, anyway. Yeah, and wasn't Cosmo? I think Cosmo was playing too. I think.
Yeah. So when is the Howard the Duck movie coming out?
Well, hopefully, maybe they've learned their lesson from the first one. No.
Well, it definitely won't be for kids whenever they release Howard the Duck, the film.
Yeah, probably not.
The MCU film. He would be. They could pair him with Deadpool.
Did he? For some reason, my brain is connecting Roger Rabbit with Howard the Duck, and I don't know why. Is there a reason for that?
No.
Okay, never mind. Maybe it's like inappropriate things that you would think might be for kids, but are not for kids. Like Roger Rabbit was not a movie for kids.
No, but I think Howard the Duck is worse.
I'm probably yeah. But yeah, that would be funny if he makes a cameo in Deadpool. They should totally have him make a cameo in Deadpool 3. Like, you know, already got Wolverine.
I know. Pinch me.
Anyway, we're off track again. So getting back to Guardians, so initial impressions, like, so if we were to give it ratings, I think I would give this one, like, out of 5 nerd hats, I would give this, I think, a 4.25. I was very happy with it. I thought it was a really good send-off for James Gunn, you know, him saying goodbye in a sense. I mean, I don't see how he would come back at this point after now being the head of DC. Like, why would you bring him back as the MC? You know, MCU. I doubt Kevin Feige would do that. It's like the competition. So he's defected, quote unquote, to DC. So, but this was a good send off. This the movie, it was really good. Definitely better than Volume 2, I must say.
Yeah, I agree with that too.
I didn't hate Volume 2, but this was much better.
Yeah. I didn't hate Volume 2, but I didn't feel like rewatching it either.
Yeah.
I mean, the beginning of Volume 2 was good. But
yeah. I think the second half is where it starts to fall apart for me, and it just, I don't know. Something about it just wasn't satisfying compared to the first film, but this one definitely delivered. Had a lot of definitely very poignant, very heartfelt moments. Maybe that's part of it. Is like this Volume 2. It had some of that. Like it had the Nebula and
Gamora
storyline had some gravitas to it, and even some of the bond that develops between Drax and Mantis. Like that's particularly developed more in this film. Like they're buddies, like sometimes adversarial buddies. Like he thinks she's ugly, she thinks he's stupid, but they love each other anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, man. My wife was rooting for them to get together in Volume 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, that would have been interesting, I think, because obviously he lost his wife and his kids, and maybe they'll get together if there ever is a Volume 4. Maybe they'll get together at that point. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I can't say much more about that plot without spoilers, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we don't want to spoil anything too much yet, just in case you guys are listening to the beginning of this just to find out what we think and decide. But I'm guessing, though, if you're listening to this at all, you probably already want to go see it and probably already have. So, so yeah, and let's see, we got about 15 to, well, maybe 20 to 30 minutes left in our episode. So let's go ahead and dive in. So from this point on, spoiler warning,
Dun, dun,
spoilers,
dun, dun.
spoilers, spoilers. We need a spoiler song or something like, it's time for spoilers.
That would be cool.
Coming soon. So, all right.
We need to find someone to write that jingle for us.
I could probably write it.
Cool.
I know enough music to be a little bit dangerous, but not much of a threat.
You mean like how I just know this much Spanish? Just enough to embarrass myself.
Solo poquito español. Solo poquito.
I don't drink Spaquito.
What about Tecate? No.
You drink cat?
Jose Cuervo. It's
What did you
tequila.
call me?
Jose. Oh,
My name is Will. Guillermo.
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 Oh, yeah, Guillermo.
Guillermo.
Guillermo. That's right.
Del Buye.
And so mine is Ricardo. I guess it'd be Ricardo Mejor, Richard the Best. Or Ricardo El Mejor, Richard the Best.
Well, I don't know what Boyer is in Spanish.
Boyer?
Boyer.
Maybe. Boyer?
Maybe.
Boyer would literally be how you would pronounce it if it appeared in Spanish. Boyer.
Boyer.
I like that. That sounds good. Guillermo Boyer.
Del Boyer.
Guillermo Tomás Boyer. And I'd be Ricardo Alan Mejor.
Tomás del Boyer.
So, anyway, we keep getting off topic. This movie was great. Like, I don't know why we're having a hard time diving into it. Let's see. So, Rocket the Raccoon. So, we definitely learned, obviously, a lot about his backstory. And, it's interesting, like, when they first showed a bit of the high evolutionary, like, my first thought was, like, is this a Kang variant? Which it's not. I don't
No.
think. I'm pretty sure it's not. But that, I had a passing thought at first, particularly when you saw the hand come forward and you tell it was a black man. I was like, is this a Kang variant? Made me wonder for a minute, because you never know where they might go with the MCU, but
Well, that's true.
they did not. It's not a Kang variant. At least if it is, they don't say anything to indicate that. It is interesting that they did not talk at all about the High Evolutionary's origins. Like, where did he come from? Like, I know he came to believe that the gods weren't doing things the way he wanted. He says at one point in anger, it's like, there is no God, that's why I stepped in. Or the gods aren't doing anything, that's why I stepped in. Something to that effect. Is like, the gods are messing up, that's why I stepped in. So,
Right.
So he didn't like the way the universe was going or the way species were developing, what have you, and decided to step in himself. And he founds a company that allows him to essentially do black market genetic alterations and such. But yeah, they don't really say much about. Like, do you know anything about him from the comics at all? Like, any of his backstory?
No. I apologize for not doing the research before this.
Well, I didn't either, so what can I say? So yeah, nerds, if you know, let us know. And obviously we can research after this, but yeah, I am curious, because yeah, they don't, and obviously that's a deliberate choice on Gunn's part, but they don't dive into his backstory because they want more of the focus to be on Rocket.
Right.
And his backstory. So I think that's a good choice as far as the movie's concerned of not diving too much into that. And I was curious, like, could you tell, like, whether I'm assuming most of his servants, quote unquote, were people or animals that he abducted from other planets and altered, you know, but obviously with his company, there were people that he had hired.
Right.
That seemed obvious that there were people he had hired from around the galaxy. One of which is played by Nathan Fillion, which I really enjoyed his part. He did a good job, you know. And
I recognized him.
Yeah, Firefly.
Yeah.
Castle. Like, and I'm trying to think. He's not done anything in the MCU at this point, I don't think, except for maybe a voice. I know he's done voices in the DC.
Yeah, didn't he play Green Lantern once?
Yeah, he did Green Lantern's voice, I think, in one of the animated films. And that might have been it. That might have been all he's done at this point. For some reason, Flash is coming to mind, but I don't know that he's ever done a Flash voice. But I know he's done some voice work for DC, possibly for Marvel too. I don't know for sure. But no, it was cool to see him pop up. I'm guessing he might be friends with James Gunn. Or maybe he just really wanted to be involved in the film, and he's like, hey, I can audition.
Yeah.
No, he had I guess it lasted about 20 minutes, that segment where they're infiltrating I can't remember the name of the company, but they're infiltrating the genetics company and trying to get the key so they can turn off Rocket's basically a self-destruct button or kill switch. I think they call it a kill switch, like a literal kill switch, right?
On his heart.
Yeah, that the High Evolutionary and his scientists had put in place in case anyone stole what they considered their proprietary or like
property,
their intellectual or their property.
Yeah,
they had altered it. They had altered biological life. Therefore, they're like, "Hey, this is our property." So if they detected anyone ever, which I wonder why they didn't activate it. Like once he got out, I guess they didn't have a way to activate it remotely.
I guess not. Plot hole.
Yeah, or just oversight. Which obviously the High Evolutionary, you find out, is not only very obsessed, like massive OCD problems, obviously huge, well, quite literal God complex.
Yeah, I think
the dude's messed up.
The dude is messed up, and I think he's got a pride complex too because he was so upset that Rocket figured out why his sped up evolutionary projects were coming out angry, and he couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, like Rocket, like when he's still fairly young, but like the neurological advancements at that point had advanced to the point where he figured out something, like you said, that the High Evolutionary had not thought of, and that basically, in some sense, starts the journey of this storyline. Like the reason Rocket gets injured in the first place and is near death is that the High Evolutionary has sent someone to come and abduct Rocket and bring him back.
Right.
He wants to use his brain, essentially. Which I wonder why he hadn't done it yet up to that point. Like why now? I wonder. I guess it's because they're getting ready to do another planet. They're getting ready to start another planet, and he's like, I need Rocket's brain. So we find that out later.
Well, there was some sense they didn't realize Rocket had survived, but with how high profile the Guardians of the Galaxy was, that's a good question. Why didn't they realize Rocket was alive and come after him sooner? But that's just a plot hole. It's obviously because the first two movies and Infinity War and Endgame were about different story plots.
Yeah, I guess because he does escape, and obviously the High Evolutionary knows he escaped, but he did seem surprised that Rocket had survived so long, so maybe they thought he had died at some point, or just had not made it out there in the world, and maybe that's, again, his arrogance.
Yes.
Thinking, like, Rocket can't make it out in the world, but he does. Like, he's very resourceful, and eventually he teams up with Groot, and they become, like, bounty hunters, sort of, slash thieves.
I would have loved to have seen.
I guess.
I would love to have seen how Rocket and Groot met, but that just wasn't a part of this film.
Yeah, I don't know if they've addressed it in the animated series, because I know there's like the Guardians have been in some of the animated series. I've not really watched any, but they have an animated series, so I don't know if that got addressed in there at some point.
I forgot about that. If I didn't just cancel my Disney Plus subscription, I would totally watch that.
Yeah, I think I watched a little bit, and it's more for kids, obviously, so I wasn't as interested.
This is true.
But yeah, I prefer the more adult. Which speaking of which, like even though this had a PG-13 rating, Gunn, as he has done, I guess, in all three, but especially in this one, definitely pushed the limits of the PG-13 rating. Just a little bit more blood and one more F word, and it would have been rated R, I think. Which would have made it the first MCU rated R movie. So I'm sure Gunn probably would have been okay with, but I'm sure Disney was like, no, we're not doing we're not doing that. We'll go right up to that line with you, but not all the way.
Hot dog, no way.
All right, so the Rocket storyline, obviously, like he's incapacitated for a good bit of it, like after the initial attack from the Sovereign, who were a big part of Volume 2, and they come back like the Queen, and then the Warhammer, is that his name?
Warhammer? You mean Adam Warlock?
Adam Warlock, who has like superpowers. He's essentially like he's a genetically engineered superpowered being, I guess.
Yes.
A little bit of a dunce at first. He just kind of follows orders, not too bright. But then, his character develops over the course of the movie. And spoiler warning, at the very end, which we're jumping all the way to the mid-cut scene, like the mid-credit scene, we find out he eventually becomes one of the Guardians.
Yes.
Because
apparently he has some history joining the Guardians in the comics.
Okay. Yeah, I know you were looking that up a little bit before we started.
Yeah, I didn't get to do too much research though, unfortunately.
So yeah, at the end, Star-Lord, Peter, decides to go off and find his grandfather on Earth and see if his grandfather's still alive, which he is. You find out at the end of the film, and Mantis also, she's like, my whole life I've either been doing what Ego wanted me to do, or what the Guardians wanted me to do, so I need to go off and pursue what I want to do and figure that out. So she leaves the Guardians as well.
With her 3 giant, ugly monstrosity pets. I think they call them obelisks.
Obelisks? Yeah. Yeah, it's the same entity that the Guardians were fighting at the beginning of Volume 2.
Oh, really?
So yeah, they eat batteries, and the Guardians were hired by the Sovereign to protect.
I forgot about that.
The batteries, and they kill one of those things. Like, it wasn't trying to hurt them necessarily as much. It was just trying to eat the batteries. So they end up fighting. But yeah, Mantis manages to befriend all of them / turn them into pets.
So we're talking about how the Guardians went their separate ways in the film. This goes back earlier in the film, but I thought they made it a good point that Gamora, new Gamora, 2014 Gamora, says that she is more than just what Peter Quill wants him to be. I thought that was good.
Yeah. So we can talk for a minute about their relationship. So it starts up very antagonistic, in the film. Like, obviously, she comes in and she's one of the Ravagers. She's become one of the Ravagers. She's joined their club, and she's tasked by, I can't remember Sylvester Stallone's character's name, but she's tasked by Sylvester's. He's like the head Ravager, basically the head. I think he's implied he's the head of all the factions, or he's high up anyway in that hierarchy, if there
Seems
is a
like it.
hierarchy. But yeah, she's joined his cadre, and we find out that Nebula has been in touch with them, sort of behind Peter's back a little bit, because she was worried he would freak out that she was in touch with Gamora. But she essentially hires their Ravagers / makes a deal with them to help them get into the facility that they need to get into in order to get the ability to turn off Rocket's kill switch. And that's where Gamora comes in. This is probably, about a third of the way into the film, something like that. And then she's with him for the rest of the film, basically, as an attaché, so to speak. But yeah, over time, we see, like, the Guardians kind of grow on her. And Peter even grows on her as she... And we start to see some of her compassionate side come out.
I like that, too. It was probably fitting they didn't get back together by the end of the film, but she definitely warmed up to him. You never know what the future might hold. I believe this is the final Guardians movie with this iteration of the Guardians, but I have no idea what could be in store in the MCU. I mean, at the end of the film, it did say Star-Lord would be back.
Yeah, it says the legendary Star-Lord will return.
Probably in Avengers Secret Wars, I would imagine.
Yeah, that would make some sense. Like, you make a cameo, or maybe even in the Marvels. Like, who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
I know when he was questioned the other day, he was a little cagey about whether anything else was coming, but obviously that was because he wasn't allowed to say until the movie came out officially. Because then, they tell you at the end, like, he'll be back. So yeah, at some point. But yeah, when is the Secret Wars? Is that 2025 or 2024 that's coming out?
I don't remember. Speaking of Secret Wars, well, I don't know if it's going to be about Kang the Conqueror or not, but are they replacing that actor?
That's a good question, because yeah, he got arrested for domestic violence. So yeah, that's possible. I don't know if they've already filmed anything further with him or not, but I'd say that's a good possibility. Yeah, because I would imagine Disney wouldn't want to be associated with him, especially if he's like full on convicted. And I mean, obviously, if he does jail time or something like that, then that's going to be even more so. So yeah, I'd say that's probably a possibility. Yeah, that they'll recast that.
Yeah,
he did a great job.
Well, he did.
But now you see like some of the violence that he shows in the Ant-Man film. You're like, oh, that came from some real places for him, apparently.
And well, I definitely understand Disney's desire to cut ties with him if they choose to do so, but I hope the new actor isn't too jarring an experience, going from all these Kang variants to these new Kang variants.
That's gonna suck for Disney too, because yeah, like he was gonna be a huge part of of the next phase, if you will. And so yeah, like to now probably I would say probably have to. I mean, maybe it'll turn out to be something a bit like Ephraim. No, I can't think of his name. The guy that plays the Flash for DC.
Oh.
Dang it, I cannot think of his name right now. But I know he's gotten in trouble for running a cult.
Yes.
It's sort of.
He is mentally not well.
But apparently,
he isn't.
Apparently,
I'm
he's getting help, supposedly.
Good.
Therapy and such, which is good.
I didn't read the article, but apparently he got in trouble again for something. I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, as far as I know, though, Warner Brothers DC Studios has not officially cut ties with him yet. So maybe I'm sure they probably mandated though, like, hey man, you got to get some help, or we're not going to do anything with you ever again. Like, you're not going to get to play the Flash again. I would think they've at least done that. I would hope.
I can't believe they haven't cut ties, to be honest.
Yeah, at least not that I've heard. I keep up with nerd news relatively well, but yeah, like I don't know for sure. I've not heard of them doing that yet. But yeah, no, I'm sure they have certainly talked about it internally.
And this is completely off topic, but earlier today I saw on my news feed that apparently Dwayne Johnson is being sued for kidnapping, and Disney cut ties with him, and that's just bizarre.
Kidnapping?
I know.
So, like, taking his own kid?
I have no
Like
idea.
a
Is
custody
he
battle
divorced
type
or
thing?
something?
I don't know.
I mean, that would make more sense because I didn't read the article, but I just saw it in my news feed, and that was just bizarre.
That is bizarre. Like, he got arrested or accused? Because there's a big difference.
Accused.
Huh.
Not arrested, just accused, and there's a lawsuit. But I don't know. Disney is just quick to cut ties with people if there's an issue. We're looking this up now.
So there's a $3 billion kidnapping lawsuit?
Yep.
Is that like it makes $3 billion makes it almost sound like it's an extortion thing.
I don't know.
This is in April 2023 claims. This is according to Snopes. Claims began to spread online that actor and former wrestler Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson had been named as a defendant in a $3 billion kidnapping lawsuit. The most prominent post we found about the claims on social media appeared on TikTok on April 24th. It went viral on the platform, with the video receiving over 675,000 views at the time of publication. The person in the video claimed, and they don't say anything else. Oh, wait.
Well, that's starting to sound fake now, but it was in my news feed.
So it's an accusation. Huh. Yeah, if it's three, that almost sounds. Again, I have no inside knowledge, so I don't know whether it's true or not. But if it's for that much money, I'm like, that almost sounds more like an extortion
Yeah.
type thing. But I don't know. I'm not saying Dwayne is above that. I mean, no human is above doing something like that necessarily, but it's not something you would expect from Dwayne.
No, which is why I'm shocked. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah, getting back to Guardians. So we were talking some about the Gamora Peter Quill dynamic,
Oh, yeah.
how she warms up to him over the course of the film. He also, I think, comes to peace somewhat, and is able to let go of his Gamora to a degree, I think, and let the current Gamora, the 2014 Gamora, kind of be who she wants to be, and yeah, that's some important character development for him, and and I thought he definitely had, like, Chris Pratt impressed me in this. I think this is, I would say this was his best performance of his career. Like this film, like, he had some of the humor, some of the characteristic Star-Lord humor, but there was some really tough emotional parts in this, and I thought he did a good job. Not that he's done a terrible job in other films or anything, but I thought this I think to date would be his best performance. I think definitely as Peter Quill, and I think as an actor too. It's fair to say, in terms of live action films and TV shows that he's been a part of. Obviously, very different from the comedy on Parks and Rec. It's a very different animal, but in terms of the dramatic weight that he brought, I think he did a really good job.
Very different animal. Very fitting for this film.
Yeah, very different animal.
Anyway, so what do you think how do you think he explained his whereabouts for the past 30 or so years to his grandfather?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Got abducted by E.T.
I mean, at this point, obviously the blips already happened, the Avengers and all that's already happened. So his grandfather knows there's aliens out there.
Oh, that's right. I forgot.
So it wouldn't be that far-fetched. He's like, hey, I literally got abducted by aliens and taken, and became an alien pirate, basically. I was forced to become a pirate, more or less, like a space pirate.
Isn't it sad? I've completely forgotten about the blip.
Yeah, because Peter was gone for 5 years with the blip. Like, he's
really?
He's one.
Oh, that's right. He was.
He's one of the ones that disappeared after he so stupidly punched. Which he makes a quick reference to that in the film. It's like, yeah, I let my rage get the best of me, and I punched Thanos in the face and led to half the universe being erased.
I must have missed that part. I know that James Gunn had talked about how not his Chris Pratt, I'm sorry. His version of the character would not have punched Thanos in the face. That was while James Gunn was out of the picture that they made those, I think.
Yeah,
decisions.
And I doubt that Chris Pratt agreed with it either. Like, I have a hard time seeing him. Like, if I was his character, it's like, that's such a monumentally stupid, like, I don't care how grief-stricken you are, like, man, like, the whole universe on the line here, and you know that. Like, yeah, I thought that weakened his character. I thought that, I didn't think that fit his character either. I don't think he would have, it just didn't work for me. I understand him being angry, but I don't think he would have been, especially when the people were like telling him, stop.
Yeah. So I also read in the same article that James Gunn said that his Star-Lord would have killed Gamora when she asked. I mean, actually he did. Now that I think about it, he did try to, but Thanos made bubbles come out.
Yeah, he does pull the trigger.
Yeah, so never mind. I was going to ask what you thought about that, but actually he did try that, so never mind.
Yeah, I don't know why. Yeah, because he pulled the trigger. At the end, it just didn't. It was disreality, as they say. But yeah, I think a lot of people didn't like that choice with the character. You know, of him being the one responsible for Thanos getting away. You know, like, and being able to later, kill half the universe.
That sucks for Star-Lord.
Yeah, I know.
Live with that now.
Yeah. So hey, Russo brothers, I love so much of what you've done, but I did not like that. Nope, did not.
So, in my brain did a fart. There it goes.
He does have another nice rant where he calls a big baddie names, like some pretty creative name. It's like I'm trying to remember him, but it was funny. He goes with Thanos. He's like nutsack of a chin. It's kind of it's like, I'm gonna punch that nutsack of a chin.
Okay, that was funny though.
But then he comes up with some similar zingers for the
was that Russo brothers or was that improv or something?
I don't know. I could see that being improv. I don't know. Chris is known for his. Actually, I don't know. I don't know how much improv he may have been allowed to do. I know he did some on Parks and Recreation. So he has some familiarity with that, which most comedy shows you have the freedom to do at least some improvisation. And some of those takes will end up in the final version. So yeah, that might have been improv. I don't know. Oh man. So let's see. Well, so you have the different subplots. Like, one of the probably the less important, although they both play integral parts in the final battles, I guess you'd say. But Sean Gunn's character, dang it, I cannot remember his character's name right now. You have him and Cosmo have a bit of a spat throughout most of the film, and he calls her a bad dog, and doesn't take it back until close to the end. But okay, Kraglin.
I thought that was cute.
Kraglin, that's his character's name. I couldn't think of it. Kraglin. I don't know if the other characters use his name that often. So I think that's why I didn't remember it as well.
I wonder if that character is even from the comics. I feel like he's not, though.
It's probably just James Gunn wanted to get his brother in the movie, so he created a character for him.
Yeah.
Well, Sean is great. Like, I don't know if you ever watched Gilmore Girls?
Yeah, I did. You know, with my mom, we used to watch that all the time. Was he a character in that?
Yeah,
he played a character.
He was a regular. He was one of the townsfolk. He was the awkward, skinny nerd character, and his I can't recall the name right now, but yeah, like my wife and I watched a number of those episodes together too, and his character's pretty funny. Like just kind of that quirky, funny.
Well, if I ever watch Gilmore Girls again, I'll look out for him.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be obvious. You know, he's hard to miss. Whenever you see him in anything, he's hard to miss. He's very distinctive body type, I guess. Not to mention, I mean, personality too. Like he's got a good personality.
So I really loved Rocket's backstory.
He played Kirk Gleason.
Kirk
on Gilmore Girls.
Okay. Yeah, I really don't remember. I remember Luke though. I think his name was Luke. The love interest. I obviously remember the mom and the daughter. And I remember that Melissa McCarthy was in it.
Which one?
She
Gilmore
was like
Girls,
a chef. Yeah. But I admit there's a lot I don't remember about the show. I think it was like an Asian best friend or something. Girl. Anyway.
Yeah.
I really loved Rocket's backstory in this film, and I think my favorite scene, for some reason it just sticks out to me, might be, I mean, it's not my favorite. I have some favorite action scenes, but a favorite emotional scene might be the reunion of Rocket with his childhood friends, Lila, Teef, and Floor.
Oh, yeah.
In heaven or whatever that's supposed to be.
I guess it's like the in-between, you know, like, have you ever seen the Harry Potter films?
Not all of them, no.
Like the final one, like Harry's kind of in the in-between, and he's, for him, it's represented as a train station, like, but it's also all white, kind of similar to that. And he meets Dumbledore there, and they talk. So yeah, this reminded me of that. But yeah, it's kind of your head towards the white light kind of idea, I guess.
Yeah. Like
you're nearing death. So your brain is firing off and having imaginary conversations and stuff.
Imaginary or not, I thought it was touching.
It was, yeah. It was very much so. And, yeah, and they don't try to explain it away. They just let it happen. You know, in the film, they just let it happen. So, like, you take how you want. You could say it's his brain doing it. You could say, you know, which there is. You do see one glimpse of the afterlife in the MCU, and that is Valhalla. So you have Jane enters Valhalla at the end of Thor: Love and Thunder. But I think that's as close as we've gotten to any like direct reference of the afterlife in the MCU.
Well, I think Marvel and DC do this postmodern thing where like all these afterlife locations all simultaneously exist, and they don't try to explain how or why.
Yeah, which I mean, in my opinion, they're all made up anyway. I mean, in the sense of like these are human conceptions of what might be in the afterlife. None of us really knows. Like, I haven't been there and come back. I can't tell anybody. And I don't know anyone who's been there and come back. You know, so it's.
And if we did, it would be highly skeptical. We would be highly skeptical.
Yeah, like even if they were telling the truth, it's like how do you know? Like that's something so. Yeah, you either take it their word for it or you don't, you know, like kind of thing. But yeah, it's one of those where you kind of rest in the mystery, and be like, hey, hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah,
you know, we'll see. We'll find out, as we all find out at the end, you know, like, but
yeah, maybe we can do a bonus episode where we talk about this stuff. But yeah, there's some fears there for me. There's some hope there too. But yeah.
Oh man, like who doesn't have that? You know what I mean? Like the fact that however that awareness came to be, like that we're aware of our own mortality as humans, that we can think about it ahead of time and contemplate it and imagine it. I mean, sometimes that's our Achilles heel. At the same time, you know, it
kind of wish
doesn't
I
always
didn't.
Doesn't always help us. You know, it's not necessarily a good skill necessarily, but it just is. You know, you know, we have that ability. I don't know if other species do. Like, obviously, they have in the moment they have the ability to be like recognize like, oh, this is an existential threat to my body. So fight, flight, freeze. You know, those responses. You know. But as to like someone anticipating their own death or thinking about it, we don't know. We don't know if other species can do that yet. I don't know.
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me necessarily. Like if dolphins have some concept of it, or elephants maybe. Uh, you know, apes, chimpanzees. Who knows? Who knows? We don't speak their language well enough yet to know. But yeah. So that was for you. That was carried the most weight, because that was definitely.
It was emotional. Speaking of Lila, I was actually shocked to see her die in this film, because in the comics she survives.
Mm.
And in the first Guardians movie, obviously it's just an Easter egg, though. But when Rocket gets arrested, it says that one of his known associates is Lila.
Huh.
In his rap sheet there when he gets arrested.
That's interesting.
But that's just a Easter egg, you know.
Maybe that was an oversight, though, because like if they made a reference to that back then, but then they kill her off, maybe that was a goof, in a sense. Like, because how would she have ever come up on a rap sheet if she had just been shot before she even got out in the world? You know.
This is true, but it's also true that this isn't the first time in the MCU something like this has happened, where they've had to retcon something that was an Easter egg. For example, in the Thor films, we see the Infinity Gauntlet in the treasure room, armory, whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
And later in Ragnarok, the sister Hela, it is Hela, right?
Mm-hmm.
Walks through and smashes the Infinity Gauntlet, saying it's a fake. So that's an Easter egg that they felt it was important to explain later.
Yeah, because like then you find out in Infinity War that it's been forged by the dwarves at, I forget the name of the place, but like forged by the dwarves under threat of torture, basically, by Thanos, or threat of death, basically. But yeah, I get the impression that it hadn't happened that long ago, so it's weird, that there would have been for some reason a replica in there. Yeah,
so there's still a plot hole there, but we try not to think about it.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like all these stories, they're written by humans just like us. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. Things are going to get missed. You run up against deadlines. You're running out of budget money. You just got to get it done at some point, even with big budget films like this. So there's going to be errors and mistakes, and that's okay. It's okay. Yeah, it gives nerds like us something to talk about, I guess.
Yeah, that's why the Easter eggs exists.
Yeah, this is true. They know that we'll be here discussing. Yeah, and we're not even super nerds. We're not like super nerdy, like picking apart every minute detail. Like, but we're still here spending an hour talking about it. So, all right, nerds or subscriber nerds. You guys, thanks for listening. Those of you that have, and for subscribing as well. And I'll announce this on the regular episode for this coming week as well. But obviously, our winner for the first month is Lars, and part of that's simply because we don't know who the other subscriber is, and I realize that that's a hole in the plot, so to speak.
So
I had this plan of like subscribers are going to be, but then I realized afterwards, like, Anchor doesn't, which is probably a good thing, that's a privacy thing, but it doesn't tell me who my subscribers are. So unless they let me know themselves, I have no way of knowing. So I can't enter you into a prize drawing, unless you decide to also say sign up for our email list, which we're trying to get an email list going of some type, at the very least for the subscribers. So yeah, subscribers like you guys are the only ones eligible for the prize drawing, but to be officially entered, you do have to sign up for an email list. So we have to know who you are. So if you don't want to be known, then that's fine. You just won't be entered into the prize drawing, unfortunately. And we obviously can't invite you to the Zoom meeting either, because we don't know who you are. But regardless of whether you choose to remain private or whether you choose to jump in and be a part of the community, we want to thank you for subscribing. Thank you so much for your support. Absolutely appreciate that. You're under no obligation, obviously, to let us know who you are. If you wish to remain anonymous, that is totally your business. But if you want to jump in and let us know, you can sign up, and then obviously you will be entered into the prize drawing and all of that. So yeah, just give us a heads up and let us know if you want to be a part of that. Otherwise, like I said, thanks for listening and thank you for subscribing.
So,
until next time.
Sayonara.
Live long and prosper. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Irreverent Nerds podcast. If you would, consider following us on Instagram. We are there at irreverent_nerds. You can also hit us up on Facebook. Just look us up there at The Irreverent Nerds. That's our fan page. We have a YouTube channel as well. Once again, The Irreverent Nerds. Nice and simple, right? And if you go to www.irreverentnerds.com, that will send you to our Podcasters for Spotify, formerly Anchor.fm, profile, where you can send us a voice message if you want to, support us financially, or listen to the podcast. It will also direct you to other places you can listen, like Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, you name it. So, like, comment, subscribe, follow, all those good things. Wherever you find us, wherever you listen to us, we would greatly appreciate it. Until next time, nerds, live long and prosper. Avengers assemble! I'm Batman.